fuck Jay-Z.
What's up, niggas? Hey, yo, I know you ain't talking about me, dog.
I did, absolutely. I very carefully, and I totally agree with you that it was certainly a bombshell piece, and I also believe it was indeed a hit piece. Yes, sir. I sure did. So, you see where it appears that Africa obstructed Reverend Thompson's way. Reverend Thompson was trying to get out when he felt that Africa was being unreasonable. He tried to exit, and Africa obstructed the man from, that's a physical contact, family. And folk can perceive that there is a threat and that you are being aggressive when you do stuff like that. And so he even, Reverend Thompson even came back. He said, okay, told him to continue to talk. As the man continued to talk, what did he do? He called him a coon and he called him a sellout. When you're in someone's space and you're in their space and you start calling them coons and sellouts when they're talking to you and you just obstructed them from leaving, and then the Reverend even tries to give him some dap, and he rejects giving him some dap. I don't know about you, but you are not innocent in that situation either. So let's get the story right for those that's running around trying to act like that Reverend Thompson is some crazed, violent man. He never has activists on. Again, I was also referring to a history, a pattern of Roland Martin cussing out alternative Black voices that he deems threatening to the current establishment, the current status quo, let me say. There is an old guard of Black political thinkers, commentators, influencers. Some of them are leaders, but most of them are speakers. Now, someone, regardless of whatever your political persuasion is, I've just expressed, starting the show, disagreement that I felt with the Reverend Mark Thompson. Did I not? So I'm not here to excuse his political positions. Are y'all hearing me? But it is important that because we may or may not like his position on certain things, that we turn around and just make him the villain. The Black politicos, such as the Angela Rye's, the Roland Martins of the world, the Bakari Sanders of the world, the Mark Moriels of the world, the Joy Reids of the world, the Simone Sanders of the world.
September 7th. September 7th. September 7th. September 7th. And if September 7th comes and goes, why that might be is Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas. She's the lead sponsor of H.R. 40, the longtime bill seeking a national study on reparations. And Mark Thompson, host of Make It Plain on Sirius XM, and Mark is soon to be a member of the National African American Reparations Commission. Thank you guys both for being here. And Mark, I'm going to come to you on this first because,
I can't figure it. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it. I can't figure it out.
No matter how many times I try to, I can't lie to you. I can't lie to you.
just don't get it. The elite black folk just don't get it.
8 times, at least 7 times in the back. When you think about where we are still in issues of police brutality, et cetera, is it, I don't know, is it depressing to think about the fact that, 50 years ago we lost Dr. King also to obviously gun violence, and that we seem to have gone backwards in a lot of ways in the cycle? Kids were the celebrity. They were the stars. They are incredible.
They were the speakers. And
the only speakers.
The only speakers. And on that, Joy, the right wing, whenever we bring up gun violence, they bring out the old trope, Chicago.
But I want to use our brother Al Sharpton as an example. Some lessons that we can learn. I'm reading an article from 2014. You all remember this, right? In about 2014, y'all remember this when Reverend Al Sharpton was busted in a more official way. We knew for years and years and years that he was said to be a rat amongst us, right?
And so a lot of what we see happening, we know is a backlash to that, and particularly what I was just reading on Twitter, a lot of the comments in support of this officer, and we know a lot of
it's a backlash, I think, of the 8 years of first black president. Clearly, men that have studied it, you knew there'd be a backlash. But
Roland goes back and forth with me, totally missing the point of my position with my tweets, right? So I was letting him know I was saying activists like me. And I gave him an example of what I'm talking about. Roland, literally, thank you for your gift, Angela Barrett Brown. May it be returned back to you 1,000-fold, beloved. So, if you all recall, one of the things, the major thing that Roland started dogging folk out on when he did a show about it and started cussing us out and all that, was he felt that we were stopping black folks or encouraging black people not to vote. Well, I want to give us a little bit of history of some of our elders and ancestors, how they truly felt. Because you know what they were doing? You had a certain class of black folk that were bullying us.
Joining me right now, though, is Mark Thompson. He, of course, is the host, the morning host of Make It Plain on the Sirius XM radio. Glad to have him here.
Hey, brother.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
One of the things I was talking to Tamika about was the midterm elections. Sure. And there's a lot of focus, energy, and attention on black women. Sure. Where in the hell are organized black men?
We're seeing these very prominent black faces in mainstream news, right? That purport to be black and purport to represent black issues. But really, they're anti-black policies and people that they support. I asked a question, and not even really a question. I posited this notion, and that is you'll never believe why black politicos are attacking their own people.
Running around attacking all these celebrities. They're going after Kamala Harris and going after Bernie Sanders. None of these people won't say nothing to them. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing back to them.
And his black children, his melanated children, was running around at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm talking about straight facts. There is a book called White Rage, Get It. I'm not just spouting off at the top of my, just running off at the mouth. There was a backlash to that. When Obama got in office, we began to see a proliferation of black death, public black death. These are just facts, family. And so because some of us smell a rat, and because we are perceiving this thing early on in the game, Negroes want to tell us to sit down somewhere and shut up. They want to tell us when we ought to be asking questions. And then notice this trick that they're starting to say now. Y'all got to make sure that you all demand the very pressure you putting on Kamala. You need to put the same pressure on Elizabeth Warren, and you need to put the same pressure on all the other candidates. We will when the time is appropriate. But right now, you're mad that we're even putting pressure and questioning and you send out your white Jesus, Howard Dean, the former head of the DNC, former governor of Vermont. He's also a physician. Y'all send him out to tell another black thinker to shut the F up. And then News One, a black publication, supposedly, was all too giddy to cover this white man, aka Jesus. But we're not going to let this white liberal media insult our intelligence and shape her image into something that is not, because they want her. You know why they want her? Because they see that her history, they see that her record, it is the maintaining of white supremacy. Kamala Harris as a DA and as AG, her buddies are the police.
I got trolled by ADOS. I became a Haitian immigrant somehow. And I don't know how that happened. I mean, I kind of do know how that happened. We'll probably get into it later. But I want to be clear that a lot of people are using their anti-immigrant bigoted feelings to dismiss what I'm saying wholesale.
You brand new. Kamala, you are brand new. No disrespect to her family. We respect all peoples. But your father is from Haitian background, which means that your experience is a bit different from ours. Your mama is from India. And my understanding is your mom's family hails from an upper class in India, and they have their own very racist issues that they have going on in India. And your mom and them is at the top of the caste or their high level classification of people groups there. So you already come from that bougie mindset. Let me help you, little girl. You knew. You are so new. Did you hear what she said? She says, while she giddy and giggling while she's doing this, she's making fun of folks that go out picketing related to criminal justice reform. Did y'all hear that? Then she says that we need to address why a person has 3 padlocks on their door. First of all, Miss Lady, what statisticians and demographers show us through receipts, through facts, is where there is high crime, it is directly connected to economic issues. So, homegirl, you want to address the 3 padlocks you said that's on your door? It has to do with the screwy schools in those neighborhoods, and it has to do with the high crime. It has to do with the fact that it was the government itself that served as the arm to flood our neighborhoods with crack, cocaine, and heroin. What are you talking about with your slow sale, talking about you need to address the 3 padlocks on your door? You are showing us your tremendous ignorance of facts and how America works and how we've come to be in the situation that we find ourselves in. It's embarrassing. Your ignorance, Kamala, is embarrassing. The encounter that took place with Reverend Mark Thompson and Africa the Great, it was alleged that it was an ADOS person, meaning Africa, but Africa said that he had not met with the founders of the ADOS hashtag movement. However, his talking points, I believe, and his positioning is what caused some to believe that ADOS was involved. And it wasn't just that, which that does not mean it was right for people to jump to that conclusion, but I'm saying it would make sense because of the talking points he had. But during a previous interview, he said he had not met with the founders and basically was saying that the founders, him talking to the founders, I guess, had nothing to do with that particular incident. That's at least what I took from what he was saying. However, I know, and we have seen several folks have seen the fact that folks that advocate for ADOS and that claim themselves to be ADOS folk were using that incident for that particular agenda. And I bear witness to that because I was at the end of some of that. They were actually utilizing this particular man's incident for ADOS purposes. So that's another reason why I think some folks felt that ADOS was behind it.
Millie and Malvo a question she never answered. She said we need discourse. She didn't answer the question I asked her. And that question was in regards to stop smearing ADOS and explain how you're blaming us for something that we weren't involved with. We weren't involved with the altercation with Mark Thompson. It was an African, a Pan-African. It's named Africa. Come on. Our group is ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. Now, we have allies, but he wasn't there as an ADOS representative. He was a Pan-African. I'm saying to you, let's get right into it. When I start looking at this thing, I got to tell y'all straight. I am unapologetically black. Now,
and in the wake of Facebook and Instagram headed by Mark Zuckerberg and others, who we know, there's evidence, USA Today had a piece about the fact that it appears that Facebook punishes black people for simply talking about white racism and how their accounts were shut down when they would post things about white racism because white folks don't want to be held accountable for their oppression. We know that Mark Zuckerberg has been brought before Congress. His people have been brought before Congress on more than one occasion because of all manner of perceived evil and malfeasance that have been taking place at Facebook. So this is not, it's not unthinkable, and it's not a stretch not to draw the very real and righteous logical conclusions that the powers that shouldn't be in these social media places are misusing the people, their accounts, our information that they're selling, that they're using, that they're benefiting off of it. And at the same time, they're acting like they're gods. Black folks, or encouraging black people not to vote. Well, I want to give us a little bit of history of some of our elders and ancestors, how they truly felt. Because you know what they were doing? You had a certain class of black folk that were bullying us. They were bullying us, and they were using all manner of tactics to force us to go to the polls to support the status quo. That black folks just don't get it. The elite black folk just don't get it. But this conscious black mayor, Mayor Ras Baraka, he initiated this, y'all. He initiated, reached out to Africa the Great. Africa the Great agreed to do it first, and then they reached out to Reverend Thompson. I think that needs to be commended. But for someone in such a leadership advocacy position, let's call it that, to say the mayor doesn't have anything else better to do, what better thing, what other thing does the mayor need to be doing than to involve himself in the issues of black people? That's our problem, is that we haven't seen ourselves important enough for political heads and political forces to take us seriously and to initiate meetings. Half of your congressperson and your city council folks, you can't even meet with them. You can't even get them on the phone. They're not returning some of y'all emails. Somebody talk black to me. So then we turn around and we say stuff like about this black mayor. He doesn't have anything better to do. It's his job to be connected to his black constituency and to be involved in the issues of black people. You know why? Because even if Mark Thompson wasn't directly living within the geographical areas that may be the purview of the mayor of Newark, it still affects the citizens of Newark. You know why? Because it deals with American descendants of slavery. And when his Twitter page, so I'm just going to say his name. So Mayor Ras Baraka gets Reverend Mark Thompson and the man he punched together to make peace. The mayor doesn't have more important things to do than the weird guy in the burgundy jumpsuit suggests that ADOS are divisive bots, as if we're the ones who punched Africa. These people crazy. Now, this was an influencer. and I'm not going to say the name, who tweeted that after word of this reconciliation meeting, let's call it, came about. Now, let me tell you what the problem with that is. Let me tell you what the problem with that is, Black family. Is that our open enemy is looking to exploit our differences. To just be reminded a little bit of some of the background of who I'm referring to. So first of all, Reverend Mark Thompson is a well-known activist journalist. He's a well-known activist journalist. He is also known for his work on, I believe it's Black Power radio. I know some years ago, as I was learning about politics and becoming more inquisitive about Black issues and hearing from other voices from different perspectives, I had become aware of Reverend Mark Thompson. And he served, and I felt that he had some very important issues that he discussed. And I was appreciative of it. This is someone that has a documented history of activism, Black activism. He has been pro-reparations, and he works with such organizations like NCOBRA that have been around for many, 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 many decades, who meet on a very regular basis and have been involved in working towards reparations for Black people. Are y'all hearing me today?
She's taking no money from this Keeper thing. But at the same time, can we ask the question of NCOBRA with George Soros and Open Borders? Can we ask it? I asked Julian Malvo a question. She never answered. She said we need discourse. She didn't answer the question I asked her. And that question was in regard to stop smearing ADOS and explain how you're blaming us for something that we weren't.
That Black folks just don't get it. The elite Black folk just don't get it.
Foul devil. Do you know who you're talking to? Foul devil.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.